May it please the court, your honor. Before is Mr. Andre McCray. He is here on cases number 2022 GS 450101. Your honor, those charges include possession of cocaine and possession of a controlled substance. Your honor, on that case, he was given a $20,000 surety bond back on September 21st of 2021. Your honor, he is also here on case number 2023 GS 450091. Your honor, he was charged with murder, discharging a firearm, and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. Your honor, he is represented by Attorney Charles David Barr of the Winsburg County Bar, and we are here this morning on defense's motion for a bond reconsideration in the matter.
Tell me about facts again. What about it? You said bond was bonded out.
Bond was denied previously, your honor, by you on September 1st of 2022, and he was ordered he could reapply within 90 days.
Okay. Has discovery been completed?
Yes, sir, your honor.
Has it been given to Mr. Ball?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And remind me about the facts in this case.
Your honor, back on May 30th of 2022, Sergeant Lee with the Winsburg County Sheriff Office received a complaint about two vehicles firing at each other at the address of 25 North Winsburg County Highway, located in the King Street area of Winsburg County. While en route, Sergeant Lee received an update from dispatch that a person had been struck by gunfire and was in the ditch in Greenleaf Street, which is right down the road from the original call location. Sergeant Lee arrived and observed a gray in color Honda Accord bearing South Carolina tag VHA 145 on the right side of the road. Other officers, including Lieutenant Wren, responded to the hospital. When they arrived to the hospital, they were advised that the victim, Mr. Damon Burgess, had passed away due to his injuries that he sustained. They did obtain GSR from the hands of the victim. In regards to the complaint that they received on scene, Sergeant Lee was able to go to the vehicle and observe the black male who was wearing gray and black pants, a black shirt, and a black face mask sitting in the passenger side of the front seat. He observed the male to be bleeding from an unknown area and struggling to breathe. Sergeant Lee advised dispatch to have EMS come there to respond. While attempting to keep the male alert, that's when he observed that the male was next to a black and color handgun that was laying on the driver's side front seat that was covered in blood on top of a phone that had an orange and colored case. Units with the King Street Police Department arrived on the scene to assist as well. They retrieved their camera and photographed the firearm and the location of it and secured it for safety reasons. They roped off the crime scene and secured everything there. The firearm that they did secure was a Glock 19 bearing serial number BPFA 248, and it was a 9mm pistol. While on scene, deputies did locate 6 spent rounds from a 9mm. Officers then conducted interviews with bystanders and customers located at this store. They did state that there was an altercation that transpired between Mr. Andre McCray and the deceased Mr. Burgess while they were in the convenience store. That altercation left from outside of the store, and that's when the shooting occurred. Law enforcement also retrieved the surveillance footage from the store. It was Sam's Quick Stop. They reviewed it. They were also able to see the verbal altercation begin in the store. Once they got out of the side of the store, you can see the victim running towards his car. He goes off camera, and you can see Mr. McCray in there still engaging in the altercation with the deceased, but he is not seen on camera. Following the shooting, Mr. McCray fled the scene. Part of the reason that he was described to be a flight risk, he and along with his girlfriend actually fled to Charleston County. They were apprehended by North Charleston Police Department, and a search warrant was obtained for the vehicle, and that's when they were able to confirm that it was Mr. McCray that was in the surveillance footage that engaged in the altercation with the deceased. As stated, he was already out on bond for a possession of cocaine charge and possession of other controlled substance. That occurred back on September 20th of 2021 when a silver in color vehicle pulled out in front of the patrol car. The deputy had hit that vehicle. The deputy then performed a traffic stop on that vehicle on Hemingway Highway near Sand Ridge Road. Before the deputy could even exit his patrol vehicle, the driver exited and opened his trunk and removed something unknown and approached the patrol vehicle and presented a driver's license that belonged to Mr. Terrence McFadden. When the deputy reached the driver's side window, he did notice a strong odor of marijuana coming from the vehicle. That's when the driver stated, and he apologized for not seeing the deputy when he was trying to re-enter the roadway on Sand Ridge Road. The driver also handed him an enterprise rental agreement for the car and stated that he was going to his girlfriend's residence in Green Acres. The deputy observed another unknown black male on the passenger side of the vehicle who was acting nervous at the time. Once this deputy informed other officers what was going on, they were asked to have both subjects removed from the vehicle just for safety reasons. When the deputy asked the driver about the marijuana odor, he confirmed that marijuana was in the vehicle. And he also asked the driver where the substance was located, and he stated that it was in the rear passenger side. Deputies were able to locate a red Tommy Hilfiger crossbody bag that was located in the rear passenger side as he indicated. Once opened, they discovered 2 large plastic bags containing a green leafy substance believed to be marijuana, and the odor was even stronger once opening. A digital scale along with several clear plastic bags were located inside as well. When the driver was asked about the bag, he stated that everything in the bag was his, and he identified the passenger as Mr. Tyree Graham and stated that he had nothing to do with it. Upon looking at records, the rental vehicle was registered to a Miss Farron Presley. Miss Presley was on the phone at the time of the traffic stop and remained on the phone during the time for deputies to ask her any questions. The driver then asked the deputy to retrieve a house key from the red bag as they were preparing to turn the car over to Miss Presley. During the search for the house key, the deputy also located a clear plastic bag.
Hold on a second. As I understand it, you wanted to hear some facts about this case. I'm standing here and I'm hearing things that I've never heard. First of all, I'm trying to figure out how is it relevant to the issue of bond. The prosecution is attempting to influence you with just a whole litany of things that I don't see how they have anything whatsoever to do with whether or not Mr. McCrae is a flight risk or whether or not he's a danger to the community. It's not a conviction that they're reading from. I've heard about the first conviction, and I intend to respond to that, but I don't know what she's talking about now. I honestly don't know.
This is the charge that he was out on bond for when this new crime was committed.
That charge, as I understand it, was dismissed because I represented him.
Is that right?
Well, it's still open in our system.
Okay. So tell me, in the murder case, the Glock 9mm with 6 spent rounds. Well, that gun was recovered from whose car?
From the victims.
So that was the victim's gun.
Correct.
So no gun was recovered from the defendant.
That's correct, Your Honor. He had already fled from the scene.
Okay. And so the 9mm spent copper, they've been matched to the victim's gun or some other gun?
They have not been matched to the victim's gun as of yet, Your Honor, I believe.
Was they in the victim's car?
No, sir, they were in the roadway.
Okay. So is it the state's position that those shell casings were not the victims? Was there any indication that the victim was firing the gun?
There is some indication that there was maybe a mutual combat going on.
Okay. Okay. So the evidence you have that puts him there is the prior argument that occurred in the convenience store?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And how far away was the shooting incident from the convenience store?
I'd like to confirm, it's maybe less than 10 feet away
Oh, really?
from the vehicle that Mr. Burgess was deceased in and sold.
It's like the store here is on the street right beside it.
Okay. So it wasn't miles down the road?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. All right, anything else you want to
Your Honor, as we're just continuing on with that, the reason why he could be a flight risk, during this incident with the drug charges, he gave a fake ID. It was later discovered that it was Mr. Andre based on prior convictions and comparing it to his booking record.
Okay, and he's in charge of that?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Okay. And where did he give the fake ID at? Where was, you said he was arrested in Charleston for that?
Oh, no, sir. For the drug charges, he was in Winsburg County.
No,
He was
no,
apprehended
no.
in Charleston County for the murder.
Right. The drug charge aren't before me, just the murder, right?
Right.
You know, I had a bond set for drug charge. So, did he give a fake ID for the murder charge?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Okay. And he was arrested in Charleston County?
That's correct.
How long after?
He was arrested on June 3rd of 2022, and this offense happened on May 30th. About 4 days later, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Yes, sir. Mr. Barr.
Judge, the prosecution has absolutely no evidence, no direct evidence of Mr. Craig ever fired a weapon. The only eyewitness that I'm aware of is Mr. McCrae's girlfriend, who lives in Charleston. And that's where he was at the time that he was arrested. She lives in Charleston. I have not seen the prosecution. I don't see anything in the discovery to indicate that the law enforcement officer has ever questioned or gotten a statement from the only eyewitness. I don't care. The people that claim that a shootout was taking place spoke to the arresting officers, and they indicated that there were two vehicles that gunshots were coming from that were fired at each other. Now, this is not, if you go and look at the video in the store shows where the decedent came into the store with a ski mask on. And he got into some dialogue with Mr. McCrae, and he pulled a gun on him in the convenience store. Now, the prosecution, Lord have mercy, they acknowledge, well, and she don't want, but he had a gun. He's the only person that they found with a gun. They found the gun residue on his hands. There's no question that, but now she mentions at the end that, well, maybe they looked like it could have been a situation where they were engaged in mutual combat. Mutual combat is not murder. That's not the unlawful killing of us. Now, as far as the consequences of it, it's very serious. But now, there is no witness anywhere that ever saw Mr. McCrae. Mr. McCrae is 32 years old. I know that he has a conviction for simple possession of marijuana, maybe a simple assault, but the conviction that the solicitor refers to, my recollection is that those charges were dismissed. Now, on this business of this murder, the prosecution concedes that everything that they have, if they could prove that Mr. McCrae was actually the person in the vehicle and that he's discharged a firearm, they conclude, they've admitted that, well, it looks like it could have been mutual combat, if it was. There's no question that when the victim was in the store, he pulled out a weapon at Mr. McCrae. The individuals then got in their vehicles and left the convenience store. There wasn't no shootout at any store. Even the witnesses that they have said that shooting occurred as the two vehicles were going down the road, and there were gunshots being fired. Mr. McCrae is, I've asked him, why didn't you graduate from college? He's got 3 years under his belt from Benedict College, studying computer engineering, but then he got in, he started smoking reefer and got caught, and that's how he got the possession. That's when he got kicked out of school. But as far as being a danger to the community, I have not heard of any convictions that he's got which would suggest to us that this man cannot lead a disciplined life without interfering with anybody. He has no track record of that. There's no question that what we have is a situation, and I don't care what anybody says, they weren't there, they didn't see anything, and they can't tell you anything about what transpired, because there were no witnesses. Now, I understand that maybe the victims or victim's family or whoever they have the right to appear at a bond hearing. But the judge this man has two young children. He had 2 daughters, one 8 years old, one 6 years old. There's nothing else to indicate that he wasn't just minding his business when whatever the altercation was between him and the decedent, that he was just minding his business and he didn't start anything. Judge, he's been in jail since June 3rd of 2022. Now that's incarceration and having not been convicted of anything. The law says that he's presumed innocent. And Your Honor, we're just asking for a reasonable bond. If that bond should include GPS monitoring, even though that would be a substantial expense for him now, particularly since he's been in jail for the last 2 years on something that he probably shouldn't even been arrested for. But be that as it may, Your Honor, we certainly believe that he's not a flight risk and he's not a danger to the community. As I said, he has no conviction for any violent crime. There's nothing to indicate that he is a person of violence. Your Honor, we implore the court not to keep this man in jail any longer without giving him at least a reasonable bond. Now, we have not filed a motion for a speedy trial, and we have not filed a motion for standing ground. We have some reason for that. But I don't think we have to at this point. What I'm concerned about is a man that ought to be out of jail, and he's sitting in jail waiting to go to court. Judge, we think he's entitled to a bond. We ask the court to give him a reasonable bond.
All right, so $75,000 surety bond with GPS monitor. He can have no contact with the victims. He cannot possess any firearms. And if we're gonna have a standing ground hearing or Dunning hearing in this, it ought to be scheduled in the next 6 months at least. And if you don't want one, that's fine too. We can schedule it.
Thank you.
This is Christian News TY. I'm Tony Conyers. Is there any newsworthy events in Williamsburg County? We will get them to you as soon as possible. If not, you can follow us on Christian News TY Facebook. You can follow us on YouTube, and you can follow us on our website.